Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Edwin Escala.
And I'm Rohani L. Gregorio, and we will be your MC for today's presentation. But before we proceed to the main purpose of this webinar, first, let's bow our head for the prayer and followed by singing the national anthem.
So blessed, my Lord, I can see you in all the lovely things so fine and true. I see you in the beauty of the flowers and the rain. I see you between the lines of a sweet refrain. I'm so blessed, my Lord, I can see you. The stars at night, I see you in my life, I feel alright. I see you, Lord, in sorrow and in happiness. I see you in the glory of sweet success. I see you, Lord, every hour, every day. I can see you, Lord, whenever I pray. I'm so blessed, my Lord, I can see you in the smile of a baby, sweet and true. I can see you in the eyes of my very best friends. I see you in these bonds, just like your love that never ends. I see you, Lord, in sorrow and in happiness. I see you in the glory of sweet success. I see you, Lord, every hour, every day. I can see you, Lord, whenever I pray. I see you, Lord, in sorrow and in happiness. I see you with the glory of sweet success. I see you, Lord, every hour, every day. I can see you, Lord, whenever I pray. I pray. I can see you, Lord, whenever I pray. I see you, Lord.
Today we are presenting chapter number 5 that has a title, Curriculum Development Reforms and Enhancement.
Partner, it looks like our presenters are excited to share their thoughts and knowledge about this chapter 5.
Yes, and I'm excited as well, partner. So if you have a question during the presentation, please feel free to ask and just raise your hand.
Now without further ado, we will turn the time over to our first presenters, Miss Rea Laine Pasagui and Miss Melca Joy Reyes. Happy learning, everyone!
Chapter 5: Curriculum Development, Reforms, and Enhancement. This chapter will discuss some curricular development reforms and enhancement, since Philippines is part of ASEAN organization. There is a need to improve educational curriculum in our country. As a curriculum designer, knower, implementer, and evaluator, the need to these reforms is substantial knowledge that will help every learners and stakeholders to have a quality education. It includes Module 6 entitled Gearing Up for the Future Curriculum Reforms. Let me start on Lesson 1 entitled The Enhancement Basic Education Act of 2013, known as K-12 Curriculum. The desired learning outcome for this lesson is to gain comprehensive understanding of the K-12 basic education curriculum reform. Content focus for this lesson is curriculum designers have a responsibility to enhance the recommended curriculum in response to the changing educational landscape and to other parts of the globe. For those products of this curriculum, like students and citizens of this country, will become competent and globally competitive in different aspects. Republic Act 10533, known as the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013, where it is the latest educational reform in Philippine education, signed into law by President Benigno Aquino III last May 5, 2013. It is an act enhancing the Philippine basic education system by strengthening its curriculum and increasing the number of years for basic education with unappropriated funds. It includes 1 year of kindergarten education, 6 years of elementary education, 6 years of secondary education, where this 6-year secondary education includes 4 years of junior high school and 2 years of senior high school. With K-12, the existing 10 years of basic education is increased by 2 years with a total of 12 years, with kindergarten education as a requirement to pass in grade 1. Why K-12? K-12 makes the Philippines connected to other countries that has also a 12-year basic education standard, which contributes to have a better society in producing productive employment, entrepreneurship, or higher education studies. After 12 years of studying from kindergarten to senior high school, every K-12 graduates will continue to study at a different paths of higher education. Others will continue to develop their skills, employment, or even an entrepreneurship. Since this curriculum are developing skills for a fully equipped individuals, this K-12 curriculum are expected learners to be equipped with 21st century skills like information, media and technology skills, learning and innovation skills, effective communication skills, and life and career skills, which they will use in different paths they are going through. When K-12 was launched in 2012, Filipinos were apprehensive because of the addition of 2 years in secondary schooling. Since most of the family in this country are experiencing poverty, they have some people talk about this curriculum implementation. Some said this additional 2 years in secondary will be added to a burden they are going through as the average Filipino family. Others said the K-12 program is going to fail since it shows lack of readiness, especially in facilities and quality of teaching. existing realities in Philippine education that became the basis of the K-12 implementation. Despite of those criticisms, Department of Education are keep on pursuing this K-12 curriculum. What could be the reason? This lesson will state the existing realities in Philippine education as the basis of the K-12 implementation. Mastery of basic competencies is insufficient due to congested curriculum. The table shows the National Achievement Test results of 4-year students in mathematics and science. In 2005 to 2006, mathematics results, only 15% of the students acquired mastery of mathematics, while majority, 59.09% of the high school students belong to the low mastery level. The achievement test results in science was even more discouraging since only 3% of the 4-year high school students in 2005 to 2006 mastered the science processes and skills. Majority belonged to the low mastery category and a few were in the near mastery level. In international examinations, the Philippines performed poorly as revealed in 2003 themes or trends in international mathematics and science. Scores. In grade 4 science and math, the Philippines ranked 23 out of 25 participating countries. In high school, when it comes in science, the Philippines ranked 43 out of 46, and in math, ranked 34 out of 38. Even with only the science high schools participating in the advanced mathematics category in 2008 in teams, the country's ranking did not improve. In fact, it ranked the lowest among 10 participating countries. One of the factors that contribute to the low performance in achievement tests is the congested basic education curriculum. Since Philippines follows the K-12 education curriculum, these 10 years would not be enough to master the competencies. Adding 2 years would make possible the decongestion of the curriculum for comprehensive acquisition of basic competencies in the 21st century. The Philippines is the only country in Asia that has a 10-year basic education program. The short duration of the basic education program also puts millions of overseas Filipino workers, especially the professionals, and those who intend to study abroad at a disadvantage. Graduates of Philippine schools are not automatically recognized as professionals outside the country due to the lack of 2 years in basic education, as Bologna Accord imposes 12 years of education for university. Washington Accords prescribes 12 years basic education as an entry to recognition of engineering professionals. With K-12, Filipino professionals would have the same competitive edge with professionals in other countries, having gone through 12 years of basic education. Researches on Philippine basic education curriculum and their recommendations. Starting on Monroe survey in 1925, for him, teaching of graduate student in agriculture, commerce, and industry because secondary education did not prepare students for life. For UNESCO Mission Survey in 1949, restoration of grade 7 primary education. And when it comes to Swanson Survey in 1950, the Education Act of 1953, revising the primary school system by adding 1 year of grade 7. In PCSPE in 1970, extending secondary education by 1 year to better prepare students who have no plans to take up university education. And when it comes to EDCOM report in 1991, retaining the 10-year basic education pace while institutionalizing career counseling in primary and secondary schools in preparation for higher education. In Philippines Education Sector Study or World Bank and ADB in 1998,
prioritizing student learning through curricular reforms, the provision of textbooks, the use of vernacular in lower primary grades, and the institution a longer basic education cycle. While in PCER on 2000, implementing a compulsory of 1 year pre-baccalaureate stage as prerequisite for students interested in enrolling in higher education degree programs. In Philippine EFA of 2015 National Action Plan in 2006, lengthening the educational cycle by adding 2 years to formal basic education or 1 each for primary and high school. In Presidential Task Force on Education 2008, extending pre-university education to a total of 12 years, benchmarking the content of the 11th and 12 years with international programs. Moreover, the recommendation to improve and to lengthen the short basic education in the Philippines has been given since 1925. As one of the most well-studied reforms, recommendations of either adding or restoring 7th grade of or adding an extra year to basic education have been put forward. Employability of Filipino high school graduates. The K-12 curriculum prepares the students for the world of work, middle-level skills development, entrepreneurship, and college education. As early as grade 7 and grade 8, the student is made to explore at least 8 subjects in the 4 areas of technology and livelihood education or TLE, namely home economics, ICT, industrial arts and agriculture, and fishery arts. While in grade 10 and grade 12, the student is supposed to have obtained a National Certificate Level 1 and National Certificate Level 2 from TESDA. NC1 and NC2 make a grade 12 graduate employable. This shows that the total age of the old curriculum graduates is 15, where it is not legally employable. While in K-12, the graduates are 18 years old, which is legally employable. The K-12 curriculum. Section 5 of the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013 stipulates the following curricular standards which the curriculum developers adhered to in crafting the K-12 curriculum. First, the curriculum shall be learner-centered, inclusive and developmentally appropriate. Next is, the curriculum shall be relevant, responsive, and research-based. The next is, the curriculum shall be culture-sensitive. Next one is, the curriculum shall be contextualized and global. The other one is, the curriculum shall use pedagogical approaches that are constructivist, inquiry-based, reflective, collaborative, and integrative. The curriculum shall adhere to the principles and framework of mother tongue-based multilingual education or MTB-MLE, which starts from where the learners are and from what they already knew, proceeding from the known to the unknown. Instructional materials and capable teachers to implement the MTB-MLE curriculum shall be available. The curriculum shall use the spiral progression approach to ensure mastery of knowledge and skills after each level. And lastly, the curriculum shall be flexible enough to enable and allow schools to localize, indigenize, and enhance the same based on their respective educational and social context. The production and development of locally produced teaching materials shall be encouraged, and approval of these materials shall devolve to the regional and division education units. The students who are undergoing senior high school can choose among 4 tracks such as academic, technical vocational livelihood, sports track, and arts and design track, wherein The academic track includes 4 strands such as Business and Accountancy Management or BAM, Humanities and Social Sciences or HUMS, Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics or STEM, and lastly, the General Academic Strand or GAS. Let's move on to the core curriculum. Below are the learning areas comprising the core curriculum. The description is based on DepEd Memo 13 series of 2013. Nomenclature or learning area. Integrated language arts such as mother tongue, Filipino, and English. In grade 1 to 6, the ultimate goal is communicative competence, both oral and written, in 3 languages. In grade 7 to 10, ang Filipino ay naglalayong malinang ang una, ang kakayahang komunikatibo, at pangalawa, kahusayan sa pag-unawa at pagpapahalagang pampantikan ng mga mag-aaral. Let's move on science. From grade 1 to 6, science education aims to develop scientific literacy among students that will prepare them to be informed and participative citizens who are able to make judgments and decisions regarding applications of scientific knowledge that may have social, health, and environmental impacts. And in grade 7 to 10, this course deals with the basic concepts in biology, chemistry, physics, and earth and space science. Let's go on mathematics. In grade 1 to 6, elementary mathematics covered basic concepts and ideals, skills and processes on numbers and number sense, geometry, measurements, patterns, and algebra, probability, and statistics as endless, using appropriate technology in critical thinking, problem solving, reasoning, communicating, making connections, representations, and decisions in real life. In grade 7 to 10, it includes key concepts and principles of number sense, measurements, algebra, geometry, probability, and statistics as applied, using appropriate technology in critical thinking, problem solving, reasoning, communicating, making connections, representations, and decisions in real life. In Araling Panlipunan, grade 1 to 6, ito ay asignatura na nagtuturo ng mga konsepto sa pananagutang pansarili, pamilya, kapwa, bansa o daigdig at Diyos. Pananagutan para sa kabutihang panlahat upang mamuhay ng may kaayusan, katiwasayan, kaunlaran tungo sa kaligayahan ng tao. When it comes to grade 7 to 10, ito ay naglalayong tumalakay sa kasaysayan ng Pilipinas gamit ang sipi ng mga piling primaryang sanggunian mula sa iba't ibang panahon at uri, at magpamalas ng malalim na pag-unawa sa mga pangunahing kaisipan at mga napapanahong isyu sa pag-aaral ng kasaysayan, pamahalaan, kultura at lipunan ng mga rehiyong Asyano, kasaysayang pandaigdig at napapanahong issue at ang kaisipan at napapanahong issue sa economics at pambansang pag-unlad. Let's move on, Edukasyong Pantahanan at Pangkabuhayan or EPP and Technology and Livelihood Education or TLE. From grade 1 to 6 and grade 7 to 10, it deals to develop knowledge, skills, values, and attitude in agricultural entrepreneurship and information communication technology or ICT, home economics, and industrial arts that can help improve self, family, and community life considering sustainable development. In music, arts, physical education, and health or MAPE, from grade 1 to 6, the music program focuses on the learner as the recipient of the knowledge, skills, and values necessary for artistic expression and cultural literacy. The art program provides our Filipino learners with art experiences that include recognizing, creating, appreciating, and critiquing their own artistic works and the works of others. While in physical education, program is anchored on the tenet move to learn and learn to move, with ultimate goal of achieving lifelong fitness. The health program for kindergarten to grade 6 focuses on the physical, mental, emotional, social, moral, and spiritual dimensions of health and enables the learners to acquire essential knowledge, attitudes, and skills necessary to promote good nutrition, prevent and control diseases, and substance use and abuse, reduce health-related risk behaviors to prevent and control injuries with the view of maintaining and improving personal, family, community, national, and global health. Music and arts in grade 7 to 10 deal with the study of man's aesthetic expressions through sounds or music and visual arts, mirroring the sentimental and ideas of society and culture, and contributing to the development of individual and collective identity.
Okay, let's proceed to the last one. Edukasyon sa pagpapakatao or ESP. For the description for grade 1 to 6, ang tunguhin o outcome ng ESP ay kabataang nagpapasya at kumikilos ng mapanagutan tungo sa kabutihang panlahat. Ang edukasyon sa pagpapakatao ay signaturang bahagi ng K-12 na gagabay at uhubog sa mga kabataan. Nangangahulugang na ito, nalilinangin at pauunlarin ang pagkataong etikal ng bawat mag-aaral. Ngunit upang may pamalas ito, kailangan magtaglay siya ng 5 pangunahing kakayahan o tinatawag na macro skills. Una, pag-unawa. Pangalawa, pagninilay. Pangatlo, pagsangguni. Pang-apat, pagpapasya. At ang huli ay pagkilos. Para naman sa grade 7 to 10, ang edukasyon sa pagpapakatao ay naglalayong malinang at mapaunlad ang kakayahan ng mga mag-aaral sa moral na pagpapasya at paggawa ng mga pasyang batay sa itinidikta ng tamang konsensya. Mayroong 4 na tema ang nililinang sa paraang expanding spiral mula sa kindergarten hanggang grade 10. Una narito ay ang pananagutang pansarili at pagiging kasapi sa pamilya. Sumunod ay ang pakikipagkapwa at katatagan ng pamilya. Pangatlo ang paggawa tungo sa pambansang pag-unlad at pakikibahagi sa pandaigdigang pagkakaisa. At ang huli, pagkamakadiyos at presensya sa kabutihan. Ang nilalaman at struktura ng edukasyon sa pagpapakatao ay nakaangkla sa 2 disiplina, ang ethics at career guidance. Ang etika ay ang esensya ng moralidad ng kilos ng tao. Ang career guidance ay ang paggabay sa mga mag-aaral nang magpasya ng kursong akademiko o technical vocational na tugma sa mga talent, kakayahan, at aptitude at mga trabahong kailangan sa ekonomiya. I am now going to discuss about the senior high school curriculum, which I know all of you was the first batch to undergo the senior high school curriculum. One of the significant features of the K-12 system is the integration of specialized tracks designed to help the students in determining their respective career paths. These 4 tracks are academic track, tech-voc track or technical vocational, sports track, arts and design track. All of these aimed at enhancing a student's ability based on what he wants to do after graduation. And under the academic track, there are 4 strands, namely science, technology, engineering, and math or STEM. Second is the humanities and social sciences or HUMS. Accounting, business and management or ABM, and the general academic strand or GAS. For the additional knowledge, I will give some background about the sport tracks under the senior high school curriculum. Academic track prepares students for further studies. It is consisting of courses that will make college life easier to adjust in terms of subject variety and to a certain degree of difficulty. This does not mean, however, that if a student takes the other tracks, they cannot go to college. The academic track is simply the track that prepares students for the most common college courses such as business management, engineering, and the sciences. Students may choose their strand in the same way that they decide a course in college. The academic track is the most familiar one because students usually apply to colleges upon graduation from high school. The only difference is that the subjects are highly specific and specialized. These are but some of the changes brought about by the K-12 system. Next one is the Tech Voc or Technical Vocational. If students are really not sure if they'll be able to pursue any degree after senior high, or if they want to earn money immediately after graduation, then this track is for them. Even without college, technical vocational livelihood track will equip students with job-ready skills in the future. This track also invests primarily in skills that can gain students requisite COCs or certificates of competency and NCs or national certifications, which would be essential when looking for better career opportunities in agriculture, electronics, and trade. This is also important when applying abroad, where the skills that the students gain will prepare them as they join the workforce. For the third one, sports track. The sports track aim to give students understanding of the basic principles and techniques in relation to physical education and recreation. To also offer the students discuss various factors that affect social, psychological, and cognitive development in sports leadership and management. Professions that are related in this track are fitness trainers, game officials, tournament manager, recreation attendant, measure, or gym instructor. The last track, the arts and design track. Okay, this track will prepare students as they wander around the design, performative, and creative industry. What this track aims are to get them a career in the creative field after they graduate, breaking the stereotype that is there are no careers in this industry. They'll be surprised how fun the arts and design can be. Instill the right employment skills so that students can get a job immediately after graduation. Part of the curriculum of this track is to expose them to various forms of media, such as architecture, interior design, industrial design, graphic design, animation, painting, fashion design, photography, and film. This figure shows that upon choosing the academic track, students can choose from four different strands. Okay, from accounting, business and management or ABM, science, technology, engineering and math or STEM, humanities and social sciences or HUMS, general academic strand or GAS. Okay, ABM, accountancy, business and management would focus on the basic concepts of financial management, business management, corporate operations, and all things that are accounted for. EBM can also lead students to careers in management and accounting, which could be sales manager, human resources, marketing, director, project officer, bookkeeper, accounting clerk, internal auditor, and a lot more. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics are intertwining disciplines when applied in the real world. The difference of the STEM curriculum with other strands and tracks is a focus on advanced concepts and topics. Under the track, students can become a pilot, an architect, an astrophysicist, biologist, a chemist, an engineer, a dentist, a nutritionist, nurse, doctor, and a lot more. Those who are also interested in marine engineering should take this track. Humanities and Social Sciences strand is designed for those who wonder what is on the other side of the wall. In other words, you are ready to take on the world and talk to a lot of people. This is for those who are considering taking up journalism, communication arts, liberal arts, education, and other social science related courses in college. Students take this trend, they could be looking forward to becoming a teacher, psychologist, a lawyer, a writer, a social worker, or a reporter someday. This trend focuses on improving the communication skills. Oh, and pursuit is a choice in here too. General academic strand or guess. While the other strands are career specific, the general academic strand is great for students who are still undecided on which track to take. They can choose electives from the different academic strands under this track. The subjects include humanities, social sciences, applied economics, organization and management, and disaster preparedness. The senior high school curriculum has a total of 31 subjects, and those 31 subjects are grouped into 15 course subjects, 7 for the contextualized subjects, and 9 specialization subjects, and that will be further discussed on the upcoming slides. Core subjects are subjects that all senior high school students will study regardless of their chosen career track or learning strand. You can think of this as similar to general education or GE subjects that college students usually take on their first or second year of college. By the way, these 15 core subjects are grouped into 8 categories that can be found on the left side of the table, namely language, humanities, communication, mathematics, science, social science, philosophy, and PE and health. This table shows the core subjects categorized as language. These are oral communication, reading and writing, komunikasyon at pananaliksik sa wikang Filipino at kulturang Pilipino, pagbasa at pagsusuri ng iba't ibang teksto tungo sa pananaliksik. Next is the humanities. The core subjects are 21st century literature from the Philippines and the world, and contemporary Philippine arts from the regions. The core subject under communication is media and information literacy. General mathematics, statistics and probability are the core subjects under mathematics, while earth and life sciences, lecture and laboratory, physical sciences, lecture and laboratory is under science. There are 2 core subjects categorized as social science, which are personal development or pansariling kaunlaran and understanding society and culture. In short, the philosophy of the human person or pambungad sa pilosopiya ng tao under the philosophy and physical education and health under PE and health. Since you are the first batch of K-12 curriculum, I know that you're familiar with these core subjects, and of course, it is taken by all of you since regardless of the track, it must be taken by all the students. Let's proceed to the 7 contextualized subjects. Here's the table for the 7 contextualized subjects. The contextualized subjects apply to all tracks and strands, but the subjects are taught in the context of the track. For example, English for academic and professional purposes for the textbook track will center on textbook terms, describing and reporting textbook-related procedures, while for the sports track, the English subject will focus on the language for sports. Research may be a presentation and defense of a paper in management for ABM or in STEM track. It may be a culminating activity or exhibit for the arts and design track, and end of the term exhibits for the arts and design track. First one is the English for academic and professional purposes. Under textbook, sports, arts and design track is English for the professions. Again, this is designed to focus on the specific applications of certain subjects on the student's chosen career track or learning strand. Second is the introduction to research methods. Quantitative. It covers the research skills 1. Next is introduction to research methods. Qualitative. Covers the research skills 2. Filipino course, mga diskurso sa trabaho, ICT for learners, the ICT applications. Entrepreneurship covers entrepreneurship. The last one is the research project that covers the research project or culminating activity. This shows the 7 applied subjects or the contextualized subjects under academic, textbook, sports and arts and design track. First one is English for academic and professional purposes. Second is research in daily life 1. Third one is research in daily life 2. Number 4, pagsulat sa Filipino sa piling larangan. Number 5, entrepreneurship. 6, empowerment. And the last one, research project or culminating activity. And now let's move forward the specialization subjects. Specialized subjects are subjects that are unique to the career track or learning strand that the student choose. These are similar to the major subjects that college students take, although they're designed to be less complex than their college counterparts. Specialized subjects that belong to each career track and learning strand are listed. Specialization subjects, academic track, ABM. First one is applied economics. Second, business ethics and social responsibility. Number 3, fundamentals of accountancy, business and management 1. Fourth one, fundamentals of accountancy, business and management 2. Number 5, business math. 6, business finance. 7, organization and management. 8, principles of marketing. And the last one, work immersion or research or career advocacy or culminating activity. Next is the specialization for STEM. It covers pre-calculus, basic calculus, general biology 1, general biology 2, fifth one, general physics 1, next, general physics 2, general chemistry 1, general chemistry 2, and the last one, work immersion or research or career advocacy or culminating activity. For these the specialization for UMS, this includes creative writing, creative nonfiction, the literacy essay. Third, world religions and belief systems. Fourth, trends, networks, and critical thinking in the 21st century. Fifth, Philippine politics and governance. Sixth, community engagement, social participation, and citizenship. Seventh on the list, disciplines and ideas in the social sciences. Number 8, disciplines and ideas in the applied sciences. And for the last one, work immersion or research or career advocacy or culminating activity. Let's move on for the specialization for general academic strand. Number 1, Humanities 1. Number 2, Humanities 2. The third one, Social Science 1. Fourth, Applied Economics. Fifth, Organization and Management. Number 6, Disaster Readiness and Risk Reduction. 7, Elective 1. It can be from any track or strand. Number 8, Elective 2. It can also be from any track or strand. And the last one, Work Immersion or Research or Career Advocacy or Culminating Activity. And now for the specialization of sports track. First, Safety and First Aid. Number 2, Human Movement. Third, Fundamentals of Coaching. Fourth, Sports Officiating and Activity Management. Fifth, Fitness, Sports, and Recreation Leadership. Number 6, Psychosocial Aspects of Sports and Exercise. Number 7, Fitness Testing and Exercise Programming. Number 8, Practicum in Campus. 9, Work Immersion or Research or Career Advocacy or Culminating Activity. Previously, I've shown the specialization subjects under the academic and sports track. And now I will discuss to you the specialized courses under the academic, art and design, and sports track. First one under the liberal arts are Literature 1, Humanities 1, Social Science 1, Economics 1, Fifth Organization Management. Number 6, Foreign Language 1, 7, Applied Science, 8, Pre-Calculus, and number 9, Work Immersion or Career Advocacy or Research or Culminating Activity.
Under HUMS, first one, Literature 1, Fiction and Drama. Number 2, Literature 2. Number 3, Humanities 1, Popular Art as Text. Number 4, Humanities 2.
Fifth, Education 1 or Foreign Language 1. Number 6, Education 2 or Foreign Language 2. Number 7, Social Science 1. Number 8, Social Science 2. And the last one, Work Immersion or Career Advocacy or Research or Culminating Activity. For BOM or ABM, number 1, Applied Economics 1. Number 2, Applied Economics 2. Number 3, Accounting 1. Number 4, Accounting 2. Number 5, Business Math. 6th, Business Finance. 7, Organization and Management. Number 8, Principles of Marketing. And the last one, Work Immersion or Career Advocacy or Research or Culminating Activity. Okay, under the STEM, Pre-Calculus, Basic Calculus, General Chemistry 1, General Chemistry 2, General Physics 1, General Physics 2. Number 7, General Biology 1. Number 8, General Biology 2. Number 9, Work Immersion or Career Advocacy or Research or Culminating Activity. Specialized courses for arts and design tracks. Arts and design strands. Art assessment and guidance. Art track 1, Introduction to Applied Arts and Design Production. Art track 2, Introduction to Performing Arts. Art track 3, Understanding Elements and Principles of the Different Arts. Art track 4, Work Environment in Various Arts Fields. Art track 5, Developing Filipino Identity in the Arts. Art track 6, Leadership and Management in Different Arts Fields. Art track 7 and 8, Apprenticeship and exploration of different arts fields, production and performing, music, dance, and theater. Awestruck 9, apprenticeship and exploration of different arts design, media arts, visual arts, and literary arts. And for the specialized courses for sports track subjects, sports track 1, safety and first aid, sports track 2, understanding human movement, sports track 3, general coaching course, sports track 4, sports officiating, sports track 5, fitness leadership, sports track 6, sports or recreation or fitness management, sports track 7, student athlete enhancement and formation, sports track 8, fitness testing and exercise prescription, sports track 9, recreation leadership. And that would be all about the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013 or the K-12 curriculum. I hope that you gain more knowledge about the new curriculum. And thank you for listening on our presentation.
Anyone who would like to ask questions regarding to our topic in this webinar? Yes, Miss Joy. What is your question or clarification?
Ma'am, why it is necessary for the curriculum to change specifically from old curriculum to K-12 curriculum?
It is necessary for the curriculum to change because as the time changes, the learning and knowledge increases. For instance, in the technology. We need to improve our technology here in the Philippines to go with the performance in other country. The same as curriculum, since Philippines is one of the countries included in the 10 years of education and considered as not ready. Because our country is part of the ASEAN, they encourage government and educational sectors to be 12 years of education known as K-12 program for us to be globally competitive and well-equipped individual in the society and in other countries.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mama ko po may tanong. What are the benefits of having additional 2 years in high school or senior high school curriculum?
The K-12 curriculum have many advantages to every Filipino student. One of these is enhancing the minds and skills of the students. It may help them to decide what will be the course that they want, and this may lead them to a successful life. Preparedness in stepping into tertiary learning is also an advantage. The students will be more furnished to deal with much higher level of mastering as they step in college. Another advantage of K-12 curriculum is being ready to join the workforce. The senior high school graduates will be trained that will make them commensable at certain track.
May pagkahaba-haba man ang nauna, heto tuloy pa rin tayo sa kasunod. There's no stop in learning. Just sit and relax. And I give to you the next speaker. No other than Mr. Edwin Escala and Miss Joy Manguerra.
Good day everyone, I am Edwin Escala and I will be presenting the module number 7, Outcome-Based Education, a basis for enhanced teacher education curriculum. Outcome-based education, or the OBE, became the fundamental philosophy of higher education in the Philippines lately. All the curricula, including that of teacher education, will be anchored on the concepts of OBE in terms of course designing, instructional planning, teaching, and assessing students' learning. This module will give you the opportunity to understand what OBE is all about and relate the same to teacher education curriculum as future teachers. Our lesson 1 is entitled Outcomes-Based Education for Teacher preparation curriculum. We have different desired learning outcomes. Ito yung mga bagay na dapat nating malaman pagkatapos itong lesson na to. Ang una is, define what is outcomes-based education. And the second one is, identify the 4 principles of OBE, our outcomes-based education, and describe how teaching and learning relate to OBE. The fourth one is, describe how assessment of achieved learning relate to OBE. And the last one is, describe the learner's responsibility in learning through OBE. Nung high school pa lang ako, madalas kong naririnig tong OBE na to sa mga teacher ko. Hindi ko talaga alam, wala talaga akong clue kung para saan yun, kung paano yung nakaka-apekto sa pag-aaral natin at sa pagtuturo nila. Pero ngayon na education yung kinuha kong course, unti-unti ko nang nalalaman kung ano nga ba yung OBE na to. And simulan na nga natin ngayon kung ano nga ba tong OBE na to. At isa nga sa mga naging advocate nitong ating OBE ay si William Spadi. And dinefine niya ang OBE as a clearly focusing and organizing everything in the educational system around the essential for all the students to do successfully at the end of their learning experiences. Outcome-based education is a learner-centered learning philosophy that focuses on measuring students' performance, which is the learning outcomes. It is wrong to think that OBE as a teaching style or a teaching method, but rather it is a principle for designing your teaching in an effective way that enables learning happen and helps students to achieve the intended learning outcomes. To define and clarify answers to the following questions should be addressed by the teachers. Kaunahan na nga dun ay ang what do we want these students to learn? Ano yung gusto nating matutunan nila? Napakahalaga na alam natin kung ano nga ba yung gusto nating matutunan nila. Pangalawa is, why do we want students to learn these things? Bakit natin gustong matutunan nila itong mga bagay na to? Pangatlo, how can we best help the students to learn these things? Paano tayo bilang mga guro makakatulong upang makamit nila itong mga bagay na ito, upang matutunan nila itong mga bagay na to? And how will you know when the students have learned? Paano natin malalaman kung natuto nga ba ang ating mga estudyante? Spadi premised that in outcomes-based education, all students can learn and succeed, but not at the same time or in the same way. Ang ibig sabihin nito sa OBE, iniisip nito yung kakayahan ng mga estudyante. Dahil lang mga estudyante may iba-iba yung kakayahan na maaaring mabilis silang matuto, maaaring nahihirapan sila, pero lahat sila ay pwedeng matuto at mag-succeed. Second one is, successful learning promotes even more successful learning. And ang pangatlo is, schools and teachers control the conditions that will determine if the students are successful in school learning. Ibig sabihin nito, ang school daw at ang mga guro, ina-control nila yung nangyayari sa paaralan sa estudyante sa mga classroom. E malalaman din nila kung ang mga estudyante ba ay natututo sa classroom. Yun yung kahalagahan ng OBE. We have 4 essential principles of outcome-based education suggested by William Spadi, 1994. The first one is the principle number 1, which is the clarity of focus. A clear focus on what teacher wants students to learn is the primary principle in OBE. Ito teachers should bear in mind that the outcome of teaching is learning. It also means that all activities, the teaching, the assessment, and etc. are geared towards what we want students to know, understand, and be able to do. The next principle is the principle number 2, which is the designing backwards. This principle is related to first. At the beginning of curriculum design, the learning outcome has to be clearly defined. What to achieve at the end of formal schooling is determined as the beginning. Designing backwards can also call or refer as designing down. So it means that the design curriculum must start with a clear definition of the intended learning outcomes that the students are to achieve by the end of the program. The third principle is the high expectations. Establishing high expectations, challenging standards of performance, will encourage students to learn better. High expectations means that the teachers should establish high and challenging standards of performance in order to encourage every student to engage deeply in what they are learning. The last principle is the principle number 4, which is the expanded opportunities. In OBE, all students are expected to excel, hence equal expanded opportunities should be provided. It means that teachers must strive to provide expanded opportunities for all the students. Most students can achieve high standards if they are given appropriate opportunities. Sabi nga nila, every child is a genius. Every child has a genius in him or herself and is able to do his or her best. Lahat ng bata may potensyal. Kailangan lang nila mabigyan ng sapat na oportunidad para ipakita kung ano ang kaya nilang gawin. Maging sa pag-aaral man yan o sa ibang aspeto ng kanilang buhay. And that's all that I have to discuss, guys. Kung meron kayong mga tanong, don't hesitate to ask. I will be back later and I'll try my best to answer your questions. And now to continue our lesson, I give you Miss Joy Manguerra.
Good day, class. Our topic for today is teaching learning in outcome-based education. What is teaching learning in OBE? Teaching is teaching if learners learn. Learning measured by its outcome. Whatever approach to teaching is used, the intent should focus on learning rather than on teaching. Let's move on tips on how teaching learning be done in outcome-based education. Teacher must prepare students adequately. Teacher must create a positive learning environment. Teacher must help their students to understand what they have to learn, why they should learn it, and how will they know that they have learned. Must use a variety of teaching methods. Teacher must provide students with enough opportunities to use the new knowledge and skills that they gain. Teacher must help students to bring each learning to a personal closure that will make them aware of what they learn. Assessment of learning outcome-based in OBE. What is assessment in OBE? It should be guided by the 4 principles of OBE, which are clarity of focus, designing, backwards, high expectation, and expand opportunity. It should contribute to the objective, improving students' learning. There is a need first to establish a clear vision of what the students are expected to learn. Then assessment becomes an embedded part of the system. Be useful in OBE systems. Assessment should be guided by the following principles. Assessment procedure should be valid. Procedure and tools should actually assess what one intends to test. Assessment procedure should be reliable. The results should be consistent. Assessment procedure should be fair. Cultural background and other factors should not influence assessment procedure. Assessment should reflect the knowledge and skills that are important to the students. Assessment should tell both the teachers and the student how students are progressing. Assessment should support every student's opportunity to learn things that are important. Assessment should allow individuality or uniqueness to be demonstrated. Assessment should be comprehensive to cover a wide range of learning outcomes. Learners' responsibility for learning. In OBE, students are responsible for their own learning and progress. One of the great benefits of OBE is that it makes students aware of what they should be learning, why they are learning it, why they are actually learning, and what they should do when they are learning. All of this will conclude with the achieved learning outcomes. My class, I have a quotation here. If you are not willing to learn, no one can help you. If you are determined to learn, no one can stop you.
I have a question. What matter the most in OBE?
What matters most in OBE is what is learned. Kung ano yung natutunan ng ating mga estudyante. Kaya siya tinawag na outcomes-based education. So, sa pinadaling sabi, what matters most in OBE is what is learned rather than what is taught. So, yun. Sana nasagot ko yung katanungan mo, Mr. Escasa. Now, to discuss the lesson number 2, we have Miss Acabo and Mr. Gequinto.
Good morning, everyone. Hi, I'm Giselle C. Acabo, your speaker in this next lesson for Module 7. Since we are done in Lesson 1, which is all about outcome-based education for teacher preparation curriculum, let's move on to the next lesson, which is Lesson 2 with the topic of Enhanced Teacher Education Curriculum anchored on OB. For this lesson, you are expected to analyze the influence of OB in the teacher education curriculum, and the second one is reflected on the future teacher education curriculum on the light of OB. These desired learning outcomes are stated in order for us to know where should we focus on what to learn and how should we learn from this lesson. So in this lesson, let us learn how a teacher education curriculum embraces the philosophy, system, and classroom practices of OB, or the teacher skills. Knowing that OB is a model of education that rejects the traditional focuses on what the school provides to students in favor of making students demonstrate that they know and are able to do whatever the required outcomes are. Also, it also emphasizes setting clear standards of observable and measurable outcomes. So here in the lesson 2, we are just going to give emphasize on teacher education curriculum anchored on OB. Let's have desired outcomes of the teacher education programs, ideal graduate of teacher education program competency. Una sa mga tanong daw na dapat nating i-address ay, what kind of teacher do we desire to graduate in the future? What kind of teacher we will be? And what qualities we will possess? At para raw masagot ang mga katanungan ito, it is necessary that competency and outcomes are clearly stated. Since in order to maximize the student learning, teacher must have expertise the wide range array of competencies, especially complex environment where hundreds of critical decisions are required each day. These competencies will guide teacher education program on what product do they desire at the end of the college education. It is said that recognizing the demands of K-12, the framework of National Competency-Based Teacher Standards or NCBTS, and global requirements of ASEAN 2015, needs to harmonize the teacher competency is very critical. But with the OB, these competencies will form the desired outcomes of the teacher education program. With the current imperative of the 21st century, the teacher education curriculum must emphasize that teachers' values, skills, and knowledge that are fundamental to teaching. Kasi kung hindi natin bibigyan pansin, how can we say that he or she is a teacher or a good teacher if wala siyang kaalaman or kakayahan sa pagtuturo? And the second is, roles and responsibilities of teachers should be viewed as collaboratively with other professionals because of new job opportunities. The third imperative is, teacher may not remain in the classroom but may take on tasks of course designers, program evaluators, training specialists, and other which are also related to teaching. First is yung course designers. It means teacher may have this methodology in creating quality learning environments and experience for students. As program evaluators, they measures the outcome of a program based on its student attainment goal. And it attempt to determine if new programs launch without readily predictable results are achieving the desired goals. As training specialists, they prepared teaching materials, design and implement training programs, and conduct orientation session to assess the employee skills or the teacher skills. So now, let's have these competencies for all future teacher in the teacher education curriculum. It is desired that all graduates of any teacher education program should have the following competencies to be ready to teach in the classroom. Here are the suggestions based on CMO or CHED Memorandum Order Number 30 Series 2004 and the NCBTS. Ito yung mga kakayahan at kaalaman ng mga guro na magturo or yung during her discussion, nakikita o napapakita niya dito yung mga kakayahan niya at kaalaman niya sa kung paano siya nagtuturo. Kaunahan na nga dito yung demonstrate basic and higher levels of literacy which involves or include communication, numeracy skills, critical thinking, and learning skills for teaching and learning. The second is demonstrate deep and principled understanding of the teaching and learning process. May kakayahang ipakita daw kung ano ang kaalaman niya sa pag-aaral at sa pagtuturo. Dito sa pangatlong competency na ito yung master and apply subject matter content and pedagogical principle appropriate for teaching and learning. Dito yung mga kakayahan o kayang ipakita ng guro yung kanyang kakayahan na umunawa sa kanyang itinuturo at yung kung ano yung iba't ibang uri ng pagtuturo na alam natin na mas madaling mauunawaan ng mga guro, ng mga estudyante. Yung ikaapat ay kayang i-apply ang mga kakayahan sa pagtuturo sa curriculum development at saka sa paggawa ng mga instructional materials at they own learning progression at pati na rin doon sa pagtuturo. Ikalimang competency ay tungkol sa articulate and apply clear understanding on how educational processes related to political, historical, social, and cultural context. In this competency, this is for student enlightenment. Yung ano ba yung dapat kayang ipakita ng guro na kung ano yung kinalaman or relation nung education system sa political, historical, or social and cultural context. At yung ika-ano naman ay yung kanyang uri ng pagtuturo ay napapadali daw niya dito, kaya niyang ipadaliin yung kanyang lesson sa kanyang estudyante na kung saan mas madaling mauunawaan o madaling makakasabay yung mga estudyante sa kanya. Pag sinabi kasi natin facilitate, hindi na siya yung more on traditional approach na kung saan more on teaching centered. Pero dito, pag sinabing facilitate, it is more on assistance tayo ng ating mga estudyante or tayo yung nagpa-facilitate, nag-guide sa kanila para matuto. Next competency is experience direct field and clinical activities in the teaching milieu as an observer, teaching assistant, or practice teacher. Milieu means person, social environment, or sa classroom, sa school, ito ay yung classroom. So, this means that field experience means a sequence of learning experience which occur in actual school settings or clinical or laboratory settings. These activities are integrate educational theory, knowledge, and skills in actual practice under the direction of the qualified supervisor. The next is create and improve or create and innovate alternative teaching approaches to improve student learning. May kakayahang gumawa ng or yung guro daw ay may kakayahang gumawa ng iba't ibang klase ng way ng pagtuturo or kaya niya ipakita yung iba't ibang way ng pagtuturo sa kanyang mga estudyante. And since our students do not have the same types of learning or yung pag-unawa sa ating tinuturo, one of them are truly differ among their classmates. So we as a teacher should know how can we handle and deal to them for them to learn more. Sa ikasiyam na competency ay tungkol sa practice professional and ethical standards for teachers anchored on both local and global perspectives. Teacher may practice the professional and ethical standards since this ensure that students receive fair, honest, and compromising education, as well as these standards outlines teachers' main responsibility to their student and define their role in student lives. Last but not the least at mahalaga na competency is pursue continuously lifelong learning for personal and professional growth as teachers. Pag sinabi nating lifelong learning, tumutukoy ito sa ongoing and voluntary and self-motivated pursuit knowledge for either personal or professional reasons. With the current imperative outcomes, the future teacher should be aware of the outcomes they should become. Using the NCBTS as a frame, as a global Filipino teacher, let us analyze the intended competencies or outcomes addressed by the different NCBTS domains. First teacher standards outcomes is use specialized knowledge and skill in a variety of school contexts and in diverse students' background. Since it talks about variety, this domain from NCBTS are diversity of learners. Pag sinabi natin diversity of learners, yan yung pagkakaiba-iba ng mga estudyante. Pagkakaiba sa paniniwala, pagkakaiba sa kung paano nila iintindihin yung lesson. Kaya, ang role ng teacher dito is, teacher are applying the knowledge on how he or she handle different types of student. Next is learning, yung domain nakasunod is learning environment. Pag sinabi natin learning environment, may kinalaman ito sa kapaligiran ng estudyante, yung kung saan nagaganap dito yung teaching and learning process. So, as a teacher, we should provide safe and secure and conducive environment for our student to learn more and benefit from our discussion. Next domain is curriculum. It talks about the content we are going to teach from them. Like, we need to consider 3 domains such as cognitive, psychomotor, and affective. It should be balanced on teaching and learning process. Para yung ating mga estudyante ay hindi lang nakatuon sa iisang domain ng pagkatuto, yung kagaya ng paghalimbawa domain which is knowledge, more on critical thinking. Dapat nababalance din yun, dapat meron din siyang attitudes towards sa atin and towards their classmates and kung paano nila i-accept yung isa't isa. At saka yung psychomotor naman, ito yung about sa skills, yung kakayahan niya physically na gawin. Next teacher standards outcome is apply inquiry with the use of research approaches and utilize evidence-based knowledge to improve teaching. With the domain address of NCBTS, these are diversity of learners. Ayun na nga yung sinabi ko kanina na yung pagkakaiba-iba ng mga estudyante. Dapat nako-consider natin yung kaibahan ng isang estudyante natin sa iba pa nating estudyante. The next is planning, assessing, and reporting. That is referring to the alignment use of assessment and planning activities to ensure. Also to ensure that student needs are met. Next domain is personal growth and professional development, which means the use of lifelong learning. Yan yung sinasabi ko sa inyong pag-personal growth and professional development. It is more on how can we pursue lifelong learning na kung saan mas makakatulong sa atin na maging successful and effective teachers sa ating mga estudyante, na kaya nating hindi na nadadagdagan na yung ating kaalaman at maaari pa natin gamitin sa pagtuturo, na kung saan mas lalo at saka yung mas makakatulong sa curriculum development kung ano yung ating natutunan dun sa isang activities na may kinalaman sa personal and professional development. Next domain ay yung social regards for learning. Dito yung sinasabi na dapat tayo mga teacher ay act as a role model for our students. Kasi what they are doing may reflect on how we act in front of them. Next standard teacher outcomes is self-direct continuous learning related to own experience or expertise for enhancement of student outcomes and in strengthening the professional identity. The domain are personal growth and professional development and social regards for learning. And yung personal growth and professional development are the most related to this teacher education at teacher standard outcomes. Since pag sinabing continuous, nandito na yung naka-state na continuous learning related to own expertise of for enhancement. So, ayun na nga, kailangan natin dito yung personal and professional development since we can apply it in the face-to-face interaction to our students. Last standard teacher standard outcomes is maximize the involvement of education stakeholders and non-education communities to work in collaboration for relevant educational reforms. Iisa lang dito yung domain na addressed by yung CBTS, which is community linkages. Bakit natin sinabing community linkages lang yung involved dito na domain? Since pag sinabing community linkages, it is our relationship not inside and outside the classroom. Pag sinabing outside, yung relationship natin sa other professional or stakeholders, like nandyan yung LGU and NGU or the community itself, na kung saan nakakatulong itong band na or relation na to sa pagbibigay ng mas lalong effective educational system sa ating mga estudyante. And from the identified competency standards and outcomes, the ideal graduate of the teacher education program as a new breed of teachers are multiculturate. This means that having multiple skills or being literate to both technology and cultures. And then, living in the 21st century, we are required to literate in any different areas and subjects. Next is reflective. Reflective means we are looking to our actions or what we are doing inside the classroom. Iniisip natin yon, and then isipin din natin bakit natin ginawa yun or bakit natin nagawa yung isang bagay or yung pagtuturong iyon sa ating mga estudyante. Tapos isipin din natin na yung bang ginawa natin na pagtuturo sa ating mga estudyante ay nakatulong ba sa kanila o hindi. Then kung hindi or nakatulong, i-maintain natin yung process na yun, and then kapag naman hindi, then it's our duty to change natin yung way of teaching natin or maybe the instructional materials na ginamit natin sa kanila para naman yung kanilang kaalaman ay yung kaalaman nila na hindi nila nakuha sa dati nating way of teaching ay mas ma-develop pa sa susunod kasi nga nagkaroon na tayo ng reflection action. This also means that able to reflect one's actions so that it can engage in continuous learning. And kapag naman sinabi natin master subject content, ito talaga yung kailangan or nakikita sa atin na mabilang mga guro na dapat master natin yung subject areas or matter na tinuturo natin sa kanila kasi sa ating mga estudyante. Kasi kung hindi natin aaralin or hindi natin alam yung isang bagay na ituturo natin sa kanila, paano nila maiintindihan yun? Paano nila paano sila mag-move to another level of learning kung hindi naman, kung kulang yung kaalaman na nakuha nila sa atin. Tsaka, kung hindi natin master yung ating subject area or content, magkakaroon dito ng confusion sa parte ng ating mga estudyante kasi hindi nga tayo full confident sa pagtuturo at hindi rin enough yung information or knowledge na ituturo natin sa kanila kasi tayo, hindi natin alam yung tinuturo natin. Nagkakaroon ng, bukod sa nagkakaroon ng gap ng learning yung ating estudyante, tayo rin yung nagkakaroon ng gap sa ating tuturo at sa pagkatuto na rin bilang teacher. Then, highly skilled. This means that highly skilled teachers are master teachers. They are of the both part of the both art and science of teaching. Not only are they highly motivated and committed to their students' success, but they have the knowledge and skill to make their students successful. Next is sensitive to issue. Teacher expected to take an appropriate course of action depending on the particular circumstances or situation. Option may be assist or advise a student to talk the trusted and non-judgmental guidance counselor, school health, nurse, parent, healthcare provider, or appropriate community agency. Then, multicultural means effective multicultural teachers view their role as a facilitator for more than one dominant culture, for more than the dominant culture that is within most schools. And then the teachers incorporate teaching and learning strategies to enable students to be successful without having to give up their cultural identity and conform to the dominant culture. Yun, kapag sinabi natin multicultural, tayo as a teacher, hindi dapat tayo nagiging bias sa culture ng iba. Kumbaga, nandun yung mas pinapabura natin yung isang estudyante kasi same ng kultura, same tayo ng kultura sa kanila. Same tayo ng paniniwala sa kanila. Dapat ay mawala dun yung discrimination. Dapat ay maramdaman ng mga estudyante na belong sila dun sa klase at they can trust us. At nandun na rin yung openness, which is being honest, and can accept one another. Next is innovative. They strive to find new ways to keep students on task, motivated them to do their best, and encourage them to succeed. Yan. Kapag sinabing innovative, ito na nga yung gumagawa tayo ng iba't ibang paraan kung paano mapupukaw yung interest ng ating mga estudyante na makinig sa atin at kaya natin na encourage sila or i-motivate sa pag-aaral kasi nandun na yung magagamit nila itong edukasyon to be successful in the future. Next is highly professional. We as a teacher should act based on our professional and ethical standards. in order for us to be a role model and respect by our students. So yun, kailangan daw nating mag-act as a professional, not just inside the classroom but also the outside, since ganun pa rin na sometimes na-interact or nakikita tayo ng mga estudyante natin sa labas ng school. So, dapat kung ano yung pinapakita natin sa school, kung ano yung inaakto natin, dapat ganun din tayo sa labas. Kasi, tayo yung magiging role model ng ating mga estudyante. Next is lifelong learning. Ayan, ulit-ulit na sa lifelong learning. Kasi nga, ito yung mahalaga para sa ating bilang professional teachers. Kasi, pag sinabing lifelong learning nga, hindi lang tayo dapat humihinto sa pagkatuto. Kasi nga, as a teacher, dapat meron tayo yung pinagkukunan ng iba't ibang kaalaman at kakayahan mula sa ibang tao para magamit din natin yung nakuha nating information sa kanila sa pagtuturo sa ating mga estudyante. At hindi lang yun sa ating bilang as professional development or personal. Yun din is para sa magiging outcomes ng ating pagtuturo at outcomes ng ating mga student, which is yung outcomes ng estudyante, yun yung pinakang centered or focus ng ating pagtuturo or ng educational system. Since tapos na tayo dun sa desired outcomes of the teacher education program, let us now talk about the teacher education curriculum, an example. Yung tanong na, what kind of teacher education curriculum can develop such competencies in colleges of education or teacher education departments? Using OB framework or outcome-based education framework, the competencies previously stated are now translated into outcomes. These are the outcomes we need to see in every graduate. Teacher education outcomes. At the end of the degree plan for elementary or secondary teaching, the future teacher must have kung kanina yung competency is bago pa lang or during teaching process, dito sinasabi lang dito na outcomes na siya or naipakita na or nagawa na ng isang teacher. Yun nga yung demonstrate basic and higher level of literacy for teaching and learning, such as communication, numeracy, critical thinking, and learning skill, which are related to teaching and learning. The next is demonstrate deep and principled understanding of the teaching and learning process. Ayun, naipakita na daw niya yung kakayahan niyang unawain or maintindihan yung pagtuturo. Next is mastered and applied the subject matter content and pedagogical principles appropriate for teaching and learning. Ayun, kung kanina is pinapakita pa nga lang niya, parang medyo may hindi pa siya ganun kasanay sa paggamit ng iba't ibang uri ng pagtuturo or strategies. Dito, ang teacher daw ay mastered na niya yung subject matter na kung saan hindi na siya ganun kanalilito. Alam na niya kahit wala yung tinginan, yung like books or guidelines or lesson plan, ganun. Hindi na niya parang laging tinitingnan na ano ba yung hindi ko pa natuturo, ganun. Dito mastered na niya at kaya niyang ituro kahit ilang section pa or kahit ilang section pa yung turuan niya sa isang araw. and apply a wide range of teaching-related skills in curriculum development, instructional materials production, learning assessment, and teaching delivery. Ayun, yun nga, yung naipakita na niya yung, or nai-applied na niya yung kakayahan niya sa pagtuturo or sa skilled na siya sa panggagawa ng instructional materials na alam niyang effective at relevant sa pagtuturo sa kanyang mga estudyante. Next is articulated and applied clear understanding of how educational processes relate to political, historical, social, and cultural contexts. Facilitate learning in various classroom setting, diverse learners coming from different cultural backgrounds. Ayun, yung kaya niyang padaliin yung pagtuturo sa kanyang mga estudyante kahit na, or alam niya kung ano yung kailangang ituro or strategies na kailangan niya gamitin from different student. Kaya niya nang i-balance yung pagkatuto ng kanyang mga estudyante. Next is experience direct field and clinical activities in the teaching milieu as an observer, teaching assistant, or practice teacher. Ayun. Then, created and innovated alternative teaching approaches to improve student learning. Yun. Yung pag sinabi niyang created and innovated alternative teaching approaches, yung kapag alam na niya na hindi nag-success or hindi naging effective yung way of teaching niya sa kanyang mga estudyante, nandito na yung marami na siyang reserba or plan kung ano naman yung gagamitin niya sa pagtuturo. And then, practice professional and ethical standards for teachers anchored on both local and global perspectives. Next, yung kahulihan nga is pursued continuous lifelong learning for personal and professional growth as teachers. Ayun, yung kung kanina is yung nagsisik pa siya kung ano yung kailangan niya pang gawin, kung ano yung mga program or training for teachers na kailangan niyang puntahan or samahan. Dito is nagawa niya yung mga yun and nag-gain na niya yung knowledge sa pagtuturo at kung paano ba siya magiging true professional teachers sa kanyang mga estudyante at yung meron siyang strong bond sa kanyang co-teachers or other school heads or leaders and the community itself. So dito po nagtatapos ang ating discussion at yung iba pa pong content na nakapaloob dito sa lesson 2 about teacher education curriculum ay mas palalawakin or dadagdagan pa ni Mr. Gequinto. So, bago ko i-end itong ating discussion, may mga katanungan ba kayo? Yes, Miss Olili?
Ma'am, I have a question. Why it is important that competencies and outcomes be clearly stated in teacher education curriculum?
Salamat, Olili. Napakagandang katanungan na yung about sa bakit napakahalaga na i-state yung competencies and outcomes sa teacher education curriculum. Kasi these competencies will serve as the basis of the teacher and the student in their teaching and learning process. Dito rin nila malalaman kung yung bang nakaset na learning outcomes ay talaga bang na-attain or na-achieve na ng mga bata or ng teacher during their face-to-face interaction or communication sa loob ng ng classroom. At saka, these competencies, or kapag sinabi nating competencies, ito yung mga skills and knowledge of the teacher which enable them to be successful. So, to maximize the student learning, dapat daw itong mga teacher ay merong sapat na kaalaman at kakayahan sa pagtuturo na magsaserve sa kanila sa pagtuturo. Yung kakayahan nila na ma-share yung kanilang knowledge sa kanilang student at yung skills na kailangan din ng mga estudyante. At itong outcomes naman ay, kapag sinabing outcomes, ito na yung natutunan or nagawa na nung both teachers and student. Yun, kaya kapag sinabi, dapat na yung mahalagang naka-state kasi nga, dito malalaman kung na-attain na ba yung knowledge and skills ng teacher and students. At saka, para ma-avoid na rin yung yung redundant nung knowledge at skills, para hindi na magkaroon ng paulit-ulit na process ng teaching or learning sa loob ng classroom.
Good day everyone. Ako nga pala si Francis D. Gequinto at ako ang makakasama ninyo upang tapusin ang Module 7, Lesson 2. Upang simulan, Content and Pedagogy to Achieve the Outcomes. Dito natin malalaman kung ano ba yung mga kaalamang kailangan taglayin at abilidad ng isang guro upang ma-achieve ang sinasabi nating outcome. Kauna-unahan dito ay yung course or degree contents, which is ito ay nahahati sa tatlong bahagi. Yung general education, professional education, at yung tinatawag nating major or specialized subject. Sa susunod na slides, makikita natin ito yung mga probable subjects in professional teachers education. At ito ay may 4 na uri. Yung foundation courses, ito yung nagiging pundasyon ng isang guro. Dito sila nakakakuha ng idea kung paano magtuturo. Kagaya na lamang sa child's and adolescent learner. Kapag pinag-aralan nyo tong courses na ito, malalaman nyo kung ano ba yung kakayahan lamang ng isang bata na intindihin. Kung ano lang ba yung kaya niyang intindihin. At yun ay magagamit natin sa pagtuturo. Kaya malalaman din natin kung paano nag-e-evolve, kung paano ba tumataas yung kaalaman ng yung abilidad ng isang bata upang matuto. Doon din natin yun nalalaman doon sa child and adolescent learner. Kaya sa tinatawag na foundation courses. Ito namang mga nasa pedagogical content knowledge courses or may isa dito, assessment of learning. Dito naman natin natututunan kung ano ba yung tamang practice ng pagtuturo o yung tamang way ng pagtuturo. Dito tinuturo yung tamang pag-a-assess ng isang bata kung paano mo ma-measure kung siya ba'y natututo pa o hindi na. O okay pa ba yung kanyang natututunan. Kagaya na rin dito sa Technology for Teaching and Learning. Ayan. Pag pinag-aralan tong courses na ito, malaking tulong ito sa mga gustong maging guro kasi malalaman mo dito kung ano ba yung mga nararapat na technology na gamitin upang mas mapadali yung pagtuturo. Kung ano ba yung mga media o ano ba yung mga apps na mas magandang gamitin kapag nagtuturo ng matematika, science, Filipino, English, at iba pa. So, yun yung mga pedagogical content knowledge courses. Yan yung mga nakalista dyan ay yun din yung mga basta yun yung mga nakakatulong sa isang guro upang mapadali yung kanilang pagtuturo. Kasi tinuturo dito yung tamang practice at saka yung mga tamang way din kung paano ba mas madaling maituturo ng isang guro ang lahat ng content ng curriculum sa isang estudyante. Yung kasunod ay yung mga major courses. Ayun, yun yung mga pinipili ng isang tao kung saan niya gustong magturo, kung anong field. Kunwari, mathematics, Filipino, English, at iba pa. Kagaya namin, mga mathematics kami. Yung aming mga courses na nakukuha namin, na mga probable ngayong abstract algebra, yung calculus 1 to 3, yun na nga yun. Saka iba't iba pang uri ng yung mga mabibigat na subjects ng mathematics. So, yung kahululihan, yung experimental learning courses, yun yung field study, practice teaching, yun yung halos lahat naman ng estudyante lahat naman ng estudyante nag-aaral ng education meron ito. Yung field study, yung pag-aaralan, kung yung pag-aaralan yung mga ano ba yung mga ginagawa ng mga teacher? Para malaman ko, kahit estudyante pa lang ako, alam ko na yung mga ginagawa ng mga teacher. Yun. Tapos yung practice teaching, yun yung actual immersion. Kung ano yung ginagawa ng teacher, ikaw na rin yung gagawa nun. Yung magkakaroon ka ng isang course na ikaw yung gaganap bilang teacher at ikaw yung tuturo sa maraming bata. At yun ay magpapalipat-lipat ka pa nga ng section kung saan ka mapapa-destino. Depende sa head teacher na mag-ooperate sa inyo o paaralan. Dito rin, sa pedagogical content courses, malalaman rin natin dito kung ano ba yung dapat na sunod-sunod ng mga courses. Kagaya na lang ng Calculus 1, Calculus 2, at Calculus 3. Bago tayo mag-Calculus 2, syempre kailangan muna natin dumaan sa Calculus 1 kasi nga, mas complex tong Calculus 2, lalo na kung di natin malalaman kung ano ba yung nilalaman ng Calculus 1. At ang kasunod ay methods of teaching and teaching delivery modes. Ito rin yung dapat malaman ng ating mga guruan. Kasi nga, ang mga estudyante ay may kanya-kanyang pamamaraan ng pagkatuto. Kaya bilang guro, kailangan din natin gumamit ng iba't ibang paraan upang mas epektibo nating maibahagi ang ating mga content courses. At sinasabi rin dito na courses should enhance the concept of learning how to learn for future teachers. Dapat hindi lang tayo turo ng turo. Dapat tinuturo din natin kung paano ba matuto. At sinasabi rin dito na dapat daw ito ay student-centered o lagi natin pinapansin kung ano na ba yung natutunan ng bata. Dapat lagi natin isinasalang-alang iyon. Kasi nga, siya naman yung ating subject siya naman yung ating tinuturuan bilang guro. Kailangan alam natin kung ano na ba yung nagiging estado ng bata base sa ating mga itinuturo. Tapos interactive. Dapat kasya-siya yung ating pagtuturo o hindi nakaka-board. Integrative and transformative. Dapat meron bang minayabag tayo sa pagka-evolve ng bata. Parang minayabag tayo upang may makita tayong nakapag-ambag tayo sa bata ng mga kakayahan na maaaring mapagbabago ng buhay niya. Kaya bilang guro, dapat nahanap natin kung ano ba yung mga naitatagong abilidad ng isang estudyante. At yun yung dapat nating minamaximize kasi bilang guro, dapat nakikita natin yung mga hidden opportunities ng isang bata. Kung ano ba yung mga pwede niyang kakayahan ano ba yung mga kakayahan na pwede niyang magamit pagkatapos ng kurso o kaya sa tunay na buhay. Kung ano ba yung mga kakayahan ng bata na talagang makatutulong sa kanya sa tunay na buhay. At pinakalala din dito yung blended learning approach at kung ano ba yung kahalagahan nito. Kagaya na nga lamang nung sinasabi rin dito, use of technology for teaching, learning, and all subject area is encouraged. Kasi nga, napakahirap na magturo ngayon, lalo na sa mathematics na ang gagamitin mo lamang ay yung mga traditional na ginagawa kagaya ng Manila paper. Kailangan na natin humingi ng tulong sa paggamit ng teknolohiya. Kasi yun yung makakatulong talaga sa atin kung paano ma-deliver ng maayos yung mga content courses kagaya sa matematika, sa science. Kasi nga, yun ay hindi natin pwedeng mabisible gamit ng ating mga mata lamang. Kailangan natin gumamit ng mga machine upang mas madaling maintindihan itong mga concept ng mathematics at science kasi nga ito ay mga napaka-komplikadong pag-aralan. At yung kaululihan na nga ay yung assessment in learning. Sinasabi rito na may 3 level ng competencies in Philippine Qualification Framework, which is in level 1, yung knowledge, skills, and values ay alam na natin. O master natin, alam na natin kung ano yun. And sa level 2, yung knowledge and skills and values na nalalaman natin ay na-apply na natin sa tunay na buhay. At pagdating sa level 3, upang masabing tayo nasa level 3 competencies na, itong knowledge and skills and values ay naisa puso na natin. At sinasabi rin dito, every subject must establish a set of desired learning outcomes. Kagaya na lang na makikita natin example dun sa mga sumusunod na slides. For example nga daw, at the end of the semester, the student must have identified the curriculum concept. Dito sinasabi na kapag natapos na yung pagtuturo o yung courses, dapat alam na nila yung mga bagay na yun. Yun ay binibigay kadalasan ay sa una pa lamang para hindi naliligaw yung mga bata kung ano ba yung dapat nilang natututunan. Kung nag-exceed na ba sila doon sa expectation o kulang pa yung kanilang mga natututunan. Sinasabi rito yung ano ba yung kanilang dapat natutunan at ano ba yung kanilang kailangang ma-achieve at the end of the semester. Kagaya na lang ng mga example na ito. At sinasabi ito, how can we know that students have arrived or achieved the learning outcomes enumerated above? Sa totoo lang, napakaliit ng tsansa na hindi ma-achieve ng isang estudyante yung learning outcome na hinihingi ng courses. Kasi nga, itong OBE model, kapag nag-establish sila ng program, ito ay nakapokus lagi dun sa learning outcome na kailangang magawa ng bata pagkatapos ng semester. Ibig sabihin na lamang, kapag nagawa ng maayos itong mga established program under OBE, napakaliit na ng tsansa na hindi ma-achieve ng isang estudyante yung sinasabing learning outcome. At ito na nga yung pinakahuling slide ng Module 7, Lesson 2. Para sa mga katanungan, maaari kayong magtanong sa akin. Yes, Mrs. Melca Joy Reyes. Ang pinagkaiba ng foundation courses at pedagogical content knowledge courses na pwede natin kuhaan ng pundasyon kapag tayo nagtuturo na. Yung kagaya na nga sinabi ko sa adolescence, na malalaman natin kasi dun kung ano pala yung kakayahan ng isang bata na intindihin. Ibig sabihin, kapag dapat binabase natin sa edad ng bata o sa kakayahan ng bata kung ano yung tinuturo natin. Ibig sabihin, hindi naman pwedeng bata pa na tinuturuan natin ng calculus. Di ba napakahirap naman nun? Dito, sa foundation courses, lahat ng principles ng pagtuturo, matututunan natin. At dito naman sa pedagogical content knowledge, dito na tayo nakakakuha ng ideya. Dito sa mga courses na to, dito tayo nakakakuha ng kaalaman kung paano ba makapagturo ng maayos sa isang bata. Dito tinuturo yung tamang way. Kagaya na lamang dito sa assessment and learning, kung paano ba tamang i-assess ang bata o paano natin ma-evaluate ang isang bata base sa kanyang mga natutunan. Saka sa technology for teaching and learning, ano ba yung mga technology na kailangan nating magamit o dapat nating gamitin para mas maayos upang mas maayos yung ating pagtuturo. Yun yung pinagkaiba nun. At ito na nga yung pinakahuling slide ng Module 7, Lesson 2.
I think our audience are full of learnings since we have this very clear discussion of this previous speaker. I hope this will help them to develop and enhance different competencies and outcomes of teacher education curriculum, as they will become our future educator. But this learning doesn't stop there. This webinar prepares another speakers that can surely give learning that our audience may deserve. So let's move on to our next speaker, Ms. Mariz Delantar and Mr. Jerome Escasa, to give their ideas about their lesson.
Module 8, Curricular Landscape in the 21st century classrooms. Lesson 1. It is all about the 21st century curricular landscape in the classroom. Desired learning outcomes. Describe the curricular landscapes of the 21st century. Identified the 21st century skills to be developed in the curriculum. What would all of this require? Emerging curricula of the 21st century learners. Various group and abroad revolve along the different issues. Number 1. Globalization of the economies and independence on the international market. Ang pang-internasyonal na kalakalan ay maaaring maging mahalaga para sa mga negosyo dahil sa mga prospekto ng paglago ng kita. Halimbawa ko na dyan ang World Trade Center na meron sa ating bansa na matatagpuan sa Manila. Dito nagaganap ang pagpapakita o pag-exhibit ng mga iba't ibang produkto, lokal man o pang-internasyonal, upang mahikayat ang mga tao na bilhin ito. Number 2. Increase concerns and action about environmental degradation, water and energy shortage, global warming, pandemic like HIV and Ebola. Sa panahon ngayon, ay madalas na nating napapag-usapan o napapag-aralan ang tungkol sa kalikasan, kalusugan at pandemya. Dati, sa DOH lang natin nalalaman ang mga dapat at hindi dapat gawin upang makaiwas sa sakit. Ngunit ngayon, dahil sa integration, ay itinuturo na ito sa ating mga paaralan upang malaman ng mga estudyante ang mga dapat at hindi dapat gawin at upang mas mapalawak pa ang mga kaalaman ng mga estudyante. Increase global migration and opportunities for working overseas. Sa panahon ngayon, maraming mga estudyante ang gustong kumuha ng vocational course o TESDA sapagkat gusto nilang makapunta sa ibang bansa upang makapagtrabaho. At dahil na rin sa K-12 program, ay mas naging competitive ang mga estudyante sa ating bansa. At kaya na nitong makipagsabayan sa ibang bansa. Science and Technological Revolution. Sa panahon ngayon, marami na ang nagbago sa pagtuturo at pag-aaral. Dati, ang mga guro ay gumagamit ng mga Manila paper, chalk, pentel pen, whiteboard, blackboard sa pagtuturo. Ngayon, gumagamit ng mga guro ng PowerPoint presentation, projector, laptop upang magturo. At dito, mas madali nitong mahihikayat ang mga bata na makinig dahil pwede itong lagyan ng mga iba't ibang mga litrato na makakuha ng atensyon ng mga estudyante. At sa mga estudyante naman sa pag-aaral, dati ay libro, ang bit-bit-bit-bit. Ngunit ngayon, mga cellphone, laptop, tablet, ang gamit na ngayon. Knowledge economy as a generator of wealth and jobs. Dapat, meron kang malawak na kaalaman patungkol sa pagninegosyo. Halimbawa ko na lamang dito. Kung ikaw ay may magtatayo ka ng isang business at wala ka namang alam patungkol sa mga pagbili-bili nito, kung saan mas mura nito, at hindi mo alam kung paano ito tutubuan, ay malulugi ka sa pagdating ng araw. Kaya dapat, kailangan natin ng magtanong sa iba kung paano sila nagsimula dito, kung ano ang mga dapat gawin sa pagtatayo ng negosyo. Dahil, maaari kang malugi dito. These are some characteristics of this curriculum. Number 1. Provides appropriate knowledge, skill, and values to face the future. Ang sinasabi dito ay dapat meron tayong angkop na kakayahan, kaalaman, at tamang pag-uugali upang harapin natin ang hinaharap. Sa ngayon, tayo ay meron ng K-12 program dito sa Pilipinas. At ito ay nakapokus sa student-centered. Kumbaga, ang mga estudyante na mismo ang mag-aaral at ang mga guro na lang ang susuporta sa kanilang pag-aaral upang maitama ito. At tayo ngayon ay meron ding performance-based. para sa ating mga estudyante upang maging competitive student sila. Dahil nadagdagan tayo ngayon ng 2 taon sa senior high school strand upang ma-experience natin ang mga iba't ibang aktibidad o senaryo na makakatulong at makakadagdag sa ating mga kaalaman. Number 2 is based on knowledge drawn from research. Sinasabi dito na ang research ay isang malaking ambag para sa aming mga estudyante at sa mga guro. Dahil sa pananaliksik ay marami tayong makukuhang mga bago na mga kaalaman. Sapagkat pinagtutuunan natin to ng pansin ang mga research ngayon, lalong-lalo na sa ang science. Sapagkat malaki ang naiitulong nitong sa panahon ngayon. Katulad na may pandemya tayo ngayon, marami ang nag-research patungkol sa mga online class ngayon, kung ano ba ang mga nagiging epekto nito sa mga katulad naming mga estudyante. Number 3 is a product of consultative collaboration development process. Sa loob ng isang paaralan, dapat ay meron tayong pagtutulungan bilang maging mga estudyante o isang guro. Dahil kung ang guro lang ang magsasabi ng kanyang kaalaman, ay maaaring kakaunti lang ang matututo dito. Kaya dapat marunong tayo makipag-collaborate o magtanong o sumagot sa mga tinatanong ng mga guro. Dahil dito tayo matututo at lalawak ang ating kaalaman. Halimbawa ko na dito ang pakikipag-groupings sa isang pag-aaral. Kung ikaw lang ang solong mag-aaral, ay kulang ang kaalaman mo. Ngunit, kung makikipagtalas-tasan ka o magtatanong ka sa iyong mga kasamahan, ay lalawak at lalawak ang iyong kaalaman patungkol sa isang katanungan. Number 4, supports excellence and equity for all learner. Dapat suportahan ng mga guro ang kanilang mga estudyante sa loob ng paaralan sapagkat ito ang magiging dahilan upang maboost ang confidence nila at kaalaman upang mag-aral. At dapat pantay-pantay ito. Dapat walang favoritism. Dahil alam naman natin na iba't iba ang ating mag-aaral. Merong magaling sa tactile, visual, bodily kinesthetic. At sinasabi sa ngayon na no learners left behind. At kailangan din nating suportahan ang iba't iba pang mga estudyante katulad ng SPED at iba pang may kapansanan upang maboost din ang kanilang confidence, upang sila ay mag-aral pa rin.
Need to develop 21st century skill of learner in the curriculum. We have 4 cluster of skills for the 21st century. The first one is the learning and innovation skills. Number 2, knowledge, information, media, and technology literacy skills. Number 3, life skills. And the last, number 4, citizenship skills. We have 5 frames of thinking by Howard Gardner, 2006. The disciplined mind, the synthesizing mind, the creating mind, the respectful mind, and the ethical mind. The first is the disciplined mind. The disciplined mind refers to the ability to think in ways. It also represents a radically different phenomenon. In the disciplined mind, the students need to understand information not as an end in itself, or a stepping stone to more advanced information, but rather as a means to better informed practice. The synthesizing mind is able to select crucial information from copious amounts available, arraying that information in ways that make sense to self and others. It also achieves the later attention during the school years. The creating mind. The creating mind needs to develop multiple diverse representations of the same entity. Such multiple representations are ideal for new ways of thinking about an entity, problem, and questions. So as students, we became capable of envisioning possibilities that are quite different from the current realities. The respectful mind. The respectful mind responds sympathetically and constructively to differences among individuals and among groups, seeking to understand and work with those who are different, extending beyond mere tolerance and political correctness. The ethical mind. The ethical mind is able to merge roles at work and as a citizen and act consistently with those conceptualizations, striving towards good work and good citizenship. So each mind has been important historically, but will become even more crucial in the future. With these minds, a person will be well equipped to deal with what is expected as well as what cannot be anticipated in the future. While without these minds, a person will be at the mercy of forces what he or she can't understand, let alone control. Let's proceed to the Global Achievement Gap by Toner Wagner. The first is the critical thinking and problem solving. The critical thinking and problem solving means that students need larger to scale projects to work on that give them the time and opportunity to find problems and their solution. It's also students need to be prepared for whatever the world looks like when they enter the workforce. Number 2, collaboration across networks and leading by influence. This means that students will be able to work together with their classmates and reach beyond the classroom in order to shape their own learning. Number 3, agility and adaptability. This means that students are able to bring a whole host of tools and play when overcoming problems. Number 4, initiative and entrepreneurialism. In the initiative and entrepreneurialism, students need to learn to be self-motivated. Also, students need to learn to control their own learning and take pride in it. As they do, they will be more willing to take the initiative in their own lives and learning. Number 5,
Effective oral and written communication. In the oral communication, it is important to have a strong oral communication because you can easily share your ideas and feelings in a way that others can easily understand. In a written communication, it is also important to have a strong written communication because you can easily express what you want to say by writing, and also you can easily write a clear letters, emails, reports, and etc.
accessing and analyzing information. In 90s, there's no internet. So, the students had learned a lot of information because getting your hands on the information or even knowing it is existed required a lot more effort. Nowadays, students can get information with the ease of drinking fire hose, which is to say that it is still difficult but for drastically different reason. The last one is the curiosity and imagination. This skill is one of the most elusive but important skills we can instill in students. Right now, most of the students just don't care to learn more about stuff. Thank you.
And for our last presenters, I give you Miss Olili and Miss Gregorio.
Module 8, Lesson 2. The final action for curriculum materials, a celebration. The desired learning outcome of this lesson viewed and value the big picture of the whole module on curriculum development for teachers. This lesson captures your view of curriculum development as course to prepare you as a teacher, as reflected in the curriculum development for teachers module. It will put together your experience from the whole series of modules, lesson and activities at the end of the journey. This lesson will further find out the depth of your understanding, the intensity of your involvement, the excitement you went through, the difficulties you have experienced, and the learning adventure which you have enjoyed. This lesson will require reflection, critical thinking, and decision-making as a curriculum evaluator. In the end, we will find out if this is worth a celebration. The 7 R's of quality curriculum materials, modified from Ron Richard. Rigorous. A curriculum materials is rigorous if it provides students opportunities to develop higher order thinking skills, decision-making, and deep understanding. It also points the direction for learning, but open for a student understanding beyond a minimal outcome. Do the activity in the lesson allow students to develop higher order thinking? How do the activity launch learning? Number 2, real. A curriculum material is real if build understanding to engage in real-life activities related to becoming teachers. Are the topics significant or important to the life of the students? How do the topic intersect their lives as a student and as a future teachers? Rather than learning about math, science, writing, history, and so on, student must become mathematicians, scientists, authors, and historians to build true disciplinary understanding. Number 3, require independence. A curriculum material required independence. If students are given opportunities to make appropriate choices, like who to interview or what class to observe and when to do it, this will make students engage in a deep learning and allow students to learn from their mistakes. Rather than engaging in a deep learning, students merely complete work. A quality curriculum must be filled with opportunities for students to make choice and to direct learning. When students experience difficulty and are at the edge of their competence, support needs to be there. But as educator, we need to be more comfortable with the messiness and individuality of building understanding and asking ourselves.
Number 4, rich in thinking. A curriculum material is rich in thinking if it asks a student more than just memorization or repetition. The curriculum material makes students do observation, ask questions, consider alternatives, evaluate outcomes, reflect, and make judgment based on evidence. For number 5, revealing. A quality curriculum material is revealing if it seeks to show what the students do and do not understand, but how they understand it. Does the curriculum material reveal what they understand from their answer in the activities, self-check, and self-reflection? For number 6, rewarding. A quality curriculum material is rewarding if students can articulate what they are learning, if they can share clearly the result of their individual and group tasks. This is indicative of the student effort which is directed toward a well-defined learning goal. The sense of purpose is shown in their work as the intrinsic reward they gain. In short, they are happy with what they are doing. And lastly, number 7, reflective. Quality curriculum material is reflective if it allows students to think about one's learning, not only about feelings. For example, the statement, "I used to think, but now I think." These are the 7 R's of the quality curriculum material. They collectively focus on the topics to be covered, skills to be mastered, and facts to be learned, and outcomes to be achieved. These are the aspects of quality curriculum material. Is anyone who have a question regarding our topic?
Ma'am, I have a question. Why building independency of student important?
It is important because it helps to increase student achievement by supporting student learning. For example, an activities may provide a student with important opportunities to practice a new skill gained in class. This process aids in the learning process by allowing the student to explore the knowledge independently. Quality of curriculum, regardless of what kind it is, all have some function in student learning.
Ms. Laika, I have a question po. Does student reflection important?
Reflection is important because it allows students to see the importance of their own learning process. The student can identify what they did well, what they failed at, and what they need to change. It provides students an opportunities to come up with a solution and strategies to improve on their learning. Also provides students with motivation to learn and enjoy the process of learning. This motivation comes from them reflecting on their thoughts, feelings, and emotions. The most important benefit of reflection in the classroom is for students to be able to know why they need to learn this concept, theories, and ideas.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps our day. Thank you all for making time to join us here today and for your cooperation in this webinar.
Hope you learned something from our chosen speaker and use this in your field of study.
It's been our pleasure to host this event,
And we wish you all a pleasant day.